guardians of grit. Setting spiritual boundaries in the last days just because you rep God doesn't mean you're supposed to be a doormat. People confuse kindness for naivety and then act surprised when your discernment claps back. Reveal. Proverbs 22 verse 3 says, "A prudent man foresees evil and hides himself, but the simple pass on and are punished." Let's translate that real quick. It's not weakness to pull back. It's strategy. Real discernment knows when to retreat before snakes start dressing up as friends. Sometimes the bravest act is knowing when to step back and let the smokescreens clear. The world tries to convince you that caution is fear, but don't buy that illusion. Learning to navigate spiritual warfare requires wisdom. It requires understanding when engagement leads to elevation and when it leads to entanglement. In this age of digital consumption, we've been duped into a spirit of oversharing. The allure of social media clout has convinced us that our every thought, our every moment, is fodder for public consumption. What began as a medium to connect with those far away has devolved into a perpetual performance, a stage where fantasy and reality blur beyond recognition. The impulse to share has been twisted from its original intention. Instead of fostering genuine connection, it often fuels comparison, envy, and an insatiable quest for validation. Caught in this web, the lines between who we are and who we present to the world become entangled in layers of distortion. The wisdom from Proverbs 21 verse 23 serves as a beacon in this landscape of excess. Whoever keeps his mouth and his tongue keeps himself out of trouble. Here, we are reminded of the power in discretion. To hold our tongues and guard our hearts instead of yielding to the temptation of unveilment for the sake of applause. The illusion of oversharing, what began as a bridge to unite distances, can quickly morph into a showcase of curated personas. We reveal glimpses of our lives, only to mask the shadows we dare not expose. The philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre spoke to this performative nature, asserting, "Hell is other people," acknowledging that the scrutiny of others can be an oppressive weight. In a rush to share, we overlook the sanctity of the private moments, those unseen interludes where authenticity resides. Instead of honoring those moments as sacred, times reserved for reflection, intimacy, and truth, we cast them into the digital void where reinterpretation and superficiality reign. The power of discretion 1. Rediscovering privacy. Rediscover the value of keeping some things for yourself, savoring the moments without documentation. The art of privacy is integral to a life lived with purpose. In the quiet spaces unshared, you cultivate the richness of real experience, amplifying personal growth without the burden of external critique. 2. Embracing true connection. Rather than broadcasting every moment, invest in genuine connections. Deepen your interactions with those who see beyond your curated facade, those who are present in your life in tangible ways. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 7 reminds us, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak. This passage reminds us of the necessity of discerning when silence speaks more profoundly than words. The paradox of connection. Consider the paradox within our newfound connectivity. We are simultaneously the most connected and the most isolated generation. In our pursuit of likes, shares, and digital applause, we have distanced ourselves from the depth of soulful conversation, from the simplicity of being present in the moment. Philosopher Soren Kierkegaard observed, "Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards." This acknowledgement serves as a call to relinquish the constant gaze of retrospection that social media fosters. In doing so, we grant ourselves the permission to live forward, truly immersed in the present without the distortion of hindsight edited for public consumption. Conclusion: drawing boundaries in the digital age. As we navigate this digital reality, let us draw sacred boundaries around our hearts and our truths. Let us choose wisdom over exposure, valuing discretion as a guardian of our peace. Remember that sharing your life is a gift, not a requirement, one that must be thoughtfully considered, aligning with your values and intentions. In reclaiming the power of privacy, we become architects of authentic connection, fostering relationships rooted in presence and sincerity. Let this wisdom be your guide as you traverse the complexities of modern engagement, recognizing the strength found in silence, the depth in discretion, and the joy in genuine connection. decode, manipulate, dominate, intimidate. These are the tactics they use because they can't outright defeat your spirit. So what do? They try to bend your boundaries. And when you don't break, when your resolve proves stronger than their schemes, they flip the script. They call you arrogant, detached, not godly enough. But let's keep it real. They don't miss you. They miss your access. What they crave is what God deposited inside of you, without the price you paid, the battles you fought, and the tears you shed to get there. Understand this truth. Your boundaries are sacred. They've been forged in the fires of your journey, strengthened by every challenge you've overcome. They're not just lines in the sand. They're declarations of self-respect and divine order. When most people hear the word witchcraft, their minds often wander to images of an indigenous person practicing rituals in a remote corner of the world, or perhaps an old crone hovering over a bubbling cauldron, casting spells with cryptic ingredients. But what if I told you that witchcraft didn't always manifest in these conventional forms? Consider this. When a pretty girl plays the game of mixed signals, when she orchestrates manipulations designed to make you chase her, leaving you to feel like just another name on her list, that, too, is a form of witchcraft. It's subtle, cunning, and pervasive, a veiled attack on your emotional sovereignty. The subtle art of manipulation, witchcraft, at its core, is about control over someone else's energy, thoughts, emotions, even their actions. It is psychological warfare, waged with a smile and a well-timed text, a calculated indifference designed to ensnare you in emotional confusion. The objective is control. Stripping away your emotional energy and bending your will to serve another's whims. In this state, you become a ghost in a shell, your vibrancy dulled, your soul ensnared by the game of validation that blinds you to the erosion of your self-worth. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche warned of the dangers of such psychological ensnarement, speaking to the power dynamics in human interaction. He who fights with monsters should be careful lest he thereby become a monster. And if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you. The energy exchange here is far from benign. Understanding the mechanism 1. Harnessing emotional energy. The manipulation relies on the ability to draw you in, to weave a spell of doubt and desire, a surrender of your power for a chance of ephemeral connection or approval. Each mixed signal is crafted not merely as ambiguity, but as a tool to distract and bewilder. You're led to second-guess your instincts, doubting your strength and perception. This targeted effort aims to unseat your confidence, to make you question the clarity that resides within you. 2. The cost of control. At what cost do you surrender your will? The cost can be steep, sacrificing your autonomy, your spiritual grounding, your identity. Submission to such manipulation seeds discord within your soul, leaving you vulnerable to deeper spiritual entanglements, not just with an individual, but with a mounting cycle of self-doubt. The path to reclaiming power. As we navigate understanding these dynamics, it is essential to reclaim the power that has subtly slipped from your grasp. How do you stand firm in your spiritual power amid manipulative dynamics? 1. Recognition and refusal. The first step is self-awareness, recognizing that your energy and attention are sacred and must not be commandeered by forces seeking to diminish them. Your ability to say no, to set boundaries, is an assertion of your sovereignty. Isaiah 54:17 declares, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." This extends to psychological arrows. Recognizing spiritual assault is the acknowledgement that it cannot prosper when matched against prepared and vigilant souls. 2. Affirmation of self-worth. Return to the source for affirmation, allowing time in prayer and meditation to realign your spirit. Reclaim the narrative of your life, grounding yourself in truths found in sacred texts and personal reflection. Remember, your worth is divine and intrinsic, not determined by external validation or the approval of another. 3. Strengthening community support. Surround yourself with a community that supports, uplifts, and respects your boundaries. When you encounter mind games designed to weaken your resolve, these relationships offer perspective and reinforcement. As Proverbs 27 verse 17 reminds us, iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another. Conclusion. Guarding your spirit in conclusion, recognize this subtle witchcraft for what it is. A strategic play designed to control your essence, often using charm and allure as weapons of deception. By reclaiming your space, nurturing your spiritual armor, and staying anchored in authenticity, your light becomes too powerful to be siphoned. Engage with the world not as a ghost in a shell, but as a warrior of integrity and spirit. Break free from manipulations and false enchantments that bind, fully embracing your power as a chosen vessel of profound potential. Split. So now, here's where the road diverges. Path A, you let them back in. You water down your voice. They get in your ear. Your energy bleeds. And 6 months later, you're drained and stuck again. You're back where you started, spinning in cycles of despair and disillusionment, wondering how you slipped into the pit of compromises that erode your truth. Path B, you stand on the scroll, you move in silence. You guard the oil. You let God handle vindication. And the elevation? Inevitable. You shield your energy, nurturing the gifts God entrusted to you. Your journey becomes clearer, each step backed by divine purpose and the assurance that God sees and rewards what is done in the quiet corners of your soul. Activate. If you weren't part of the war, don't apply for the win. As you reflect on this truth, remember, you don't owe anyone the fruits of battles they never joined. Let this be your reminder. Boundaries are blessings, designed to preserve what is sacred within you. In the last days, setting spiritual boundaries isn't optional, it's essential. It keeps your heart aligned, your spirit protected, and your mission clear. As you go forth, remain vigilant and rooted in your identity. Let your boundaries be the armor that protects the sacred light within you, ensuring that you rise as a guardian of grit, unwavering and resolute. This has been a potent installment of Ascending Spiritual Lectures. Stick with us and rise prepared as we navigate the sacred complexities of these times together. Until next time, guard your boundaries, protect your peace, and continue to ascend.